Picked the wrong week to quit sniffing glue.
Hello everybody, welcome back. It's Tuesday. Welcome to the Empty Table Chronicles. It's true, I have been working. I have been working on the Sprueverse Challenge. And as such, I have not been, well, I have been filming it, but I have not been filming it as something to show you right now. I will not show you that until we get closer to, or actually until after the reveal. Then you'll get to see my behind the scenes video. But you might notice the pile of stock that was part of the challenge has gotten smaller because I am going through that and making parts for my challenge build. But I'm at that quandary where I'm trying to figure out something that I can build that is easily movable, doesn't take up a lot of space, is fairly self-contained, and I can pull it off the table while I am working on the challenge and then move it back when I am, and something I can wrap up in a week. And I think I've chosen this week, we're back to hardware, as I said, and we are on the another Ornithopter, but this is the Harkonnen Ornithopter, or the Harkonnen, depending on which movie you watch. I prefer Harkonnen. I just think it's a better pronunciation. But I ain't no Frank Herbert. I ain't no Herbert, so I don't know for sure. I'm going to call it Harkonnen, no. So we're going to be building the Harkonnen. We've done the Atreides. The only difference between the Harkonnen and the Atreides is that it's wider and fatter, and it's got bald men in black suits inside. It is basically the same kit, uses the same canopy, and as such, we'll use the same canopy masks to mask the canopies. But it is the same. This piece here is exactly the same as the canopy on the Atreides version. This is 1/72nd scale. It is from MENG, however you want to pronounce it. But see, here's the. Don't even need to paint the little black guys. We just need to paint some flesh tone on them. Same long wings that we had last time. And the nice thing about this kit, as big as it is it does fold up fairly compactly when it comes time to put it on the shelf. I don't know anybody who has built either this or the Atreides version that has displayed it with the dragon wings, or the dragonfly wings all the way out. It's just way impractical to do that. So we are going to be building it, but with the wings in the stored position. There are many bags and many sprues, but it's it's a type of kit that pretty much snaps together. You can see there's the two colors, black and flesh. And we're going to start by working on this cockpit and the wing mechanism, the wing flapping mechanism, but like we've done before. But we're going to be paying some extra special care. The color of the ship itself is this brown, so I don't think we're going to be priming this. I think we're going to be painting straight on it, or making washes and dry brushing straight on this. We'll be using a lot of the Flory sand wash that we used before. So join me for this Ornithopter build. Now, I don't expect it to take much time at all, but strap in and we will go hunting for some spice. Well, wouldn't you know, just my luck. I went from working on Sandy last week, which was a symphony of black paint, and I'm working this week on the Harkonnen Ornithopter, and the first thing I have to do is paint a bunch of stuff black. Let's see, we're going to work on this cockpit here. I've got the floor. I need, let's see, I need some E's. Yeah, everything's on the E sprue that I need. So we're going to start putting some of these bits together, and then we're going to crank out the old flat black paint. Alrighty, I'm working on the wing mechanisms now. I've got one set done. Went pretty easily as long as you take your time and follow the instructions. They're pretty well laid out. They are a set of inner fingering joints there that when one wing goes down, the other wing goes down at the same time, so it gives you that flapping motion. And we're just going to seal this in from this side, and then we put the caps over the outer side. Now this is a snap built kit. This does not require you to glue anything. I'm going to go ahead and glue it because I want these guys to be rock solid. Now you got to make sure you don't get any glue around any of the moving parts, but there's no reason not to glue it. Nice and solid. We've got these are allowed to pivot inside the holes there, but there's no reason not to glue it. Now I need another set of end caps, G4s and the G8s. Let me get those. Those are on the wing sprues, which I will guarantee you are the same wings that we had on the Atreides kit. And I need G4 again, 2 of these, and G8, which is this outer ring. Okay, and we'll get this, and there are 3 sets of these, sprockety things, the wing mechanisms. So let me get these ones in. Now these are also snap to fit. Of course the whole thing is a snap to fit, but you just want to make sure that you don't, if you are going to glue it, like I said a second ago, just make sure you're not getting any glue on the moving parts. These sprue are very clean, but it doesn't mean you can't do a little filing where needed. Now I'm going to touch just around this outer edge, keeping away from the moving barrel there, just to glue this ring on. And you can certainly put these in place and then glue around them if you wanted to. Like I can just do that, and then the capillary action will pull the MEK into where it needs to be. Okay, so that's 2 of those. And I'm betting you that they go together on the next step. There is one more. Oops, no, these go into the... Oh, what they want to see is the... Next thing they want to see is the painted floor go into the side of this, and I have not painted that floor yet, so I'm going to have to hold back. But the wing mechanisms also slide into these slots here. That's why they want you to put the floor in. So let's get the and this is the back floor. So let's get the last. We have one last set here that's just a smaller version. It's the center set of wings, but it is a smaller version of the wing boxes we've had before. So let's get those done and get them ready to go into the floor. Good morning, everybody. How you doing? Is it Wednesday already? It is Wednesday already, and it is day 2 on the Harkonnen Ornithopter. And if the Atreides Ornithopter is a wasp, this is a bumblebee. It's just a bigger, wider, fatter body on it. But pretty much the same kit as the other one. 1/72 scale again. I have I've not glued the canopy on here because I want to do some detailing on the cabin, but I'm putting all of the guts on the body here, and I think what I'm going to do is get all of the guns and everything that's attached to this, with the exception of the wings. I want to get all of that on there and then do my overall painting at that point. I'm kind of doing some pre-shading now. So I'm going through the instructions, and I am pulling out, like I'm on this stage now, which is 04, putting on some of the body guns that go on. And like I said, I'll do the wings as their own. If I remember from the Atreides one, the landing gear was also kind of a big deal. So I am going to maybe build the landing gear up by itself, and then save attaching that to the body. Do the painting and all of that kind of stuff, and then attach it to the body. Now there will be a final sand coat that goes over all this, where I do the weathering with the sand, the Flory sand washes. That can happen after everything is attached, so that my weathering is consistent. But things like this, I can go ahead and pop together. I know this is meant to be a snap together kit, but I am gluing it for the sake of gluing it. There we go. I know the glue can be a bit sloppy sometimes, but a lot of this, and I mean a lot of it, is going to be covered by weathering, so it's not as, the pristineness of it is not paramount, or whichever studio made this. Just putting a little of the MEK on here and matching up the pegs. The mechanism for making the wings flap, I was very careful to keep any adhesives away from that, because I do want those to do their thing. But I put this top part on here, and I've already sanded up the seams a little bit. If I remember correctly, when I did the Atreides one, I ended up using an overall dark iron color for this, and I think that's what I'm also going to do here. Now we can see the indents of where these guns are meant to go. You know, I don't want to use this big brush. That big brush is sloppy. I can use just this little brush, and this is a small airbrush cleaning brush. I didn't even know they were used for cleaning airbrushes when I bought them. I just saw them at the hobby shop, and I thought, oh well, that's an interesting thing. I can use that for for applying glue. There we go. Those are in. Now, and I've already got these side guns in. I've got a F-35. I've got a second set of guns, but I'm going to be working on this, the body here. See, we've got that. We've got a couple pages. Oh, we're starting the, looks like we're starting landing gear here before we get too far into it. We've got more guns. Yeah, and then we can start putting the wings in. Okay, I'll be back after the next stage is completed. Okay, it looks like we finished the gun portion of the underbelly construction, and now we're moving on to the landing gear. We've got both of these belly guns on here, and we've got this looks like a support structure of some sort. And we've got another gun here. These are problematic in that fact that they do overlap each other a little bit. Even if I push that up, it seems to be a questionable design to have these two sets of guns where they can hit each other. But hey, I don't design these things. I just build models of them. So let's get all of this off to the side, let it dry, and we'll start working on, looks like G and, oh no, wait a minute. These are still a little bit more. We have not started on the landing gear yet. Yeah, they want to do the wings after that, and then they want to do the landing gear. I'm going to skip over the wings. We're going to put those in last, but we're going to do the landing gear next. So, it looks like we do have one last little step of, these look like maybe mortars or something. One last bit of gunnage, artillery. Yeah, those go closer to the tail. Okay, so we've got to finish that bit up. Then we can get on to the, or skip over the wings and get to the landing gear. Now it's time to start the landing gear. Now, as I said, I'm skipping over the wings for right now. And I have chosen the landing gear deployed option because unless I plan on hanging this somewhere, that's the only space I've got is to have it deployed. And so to do that, we are using certain parts that we won't be using others. We'll be using the lowered ramp and not the raised ramp and other things. So let's start into it. We start with these two bits. Make sure nothing gets attached to them. No, those go straight together with each other. And then we can get the big brush out for that. Then we can start adding the smaller bits to it. This has got very, what you would almost call delicate landing gear. It kind of goes with the dragonfly aspect of the design, that it's got these huge wings, this big bulky body, but then it's got it sits on really delicate landing gear. Now, this has been something that has existed in sci-fi for a long time. I think back to the Star Wars prequels, how they would have these impossibly huge ships come down and like rest on three little points of pressure rather than having a big wide footprint. You would assume something that is going to be landing on sand would want to have, much like snow, you would want to have a snowshoe of a landing gear, yet these have really delicate landing gear. But enough of that rabble. Let's get on with the building. So let's get these two parts journed up. Nothing too delicate here. And I do find that the MEK does soften the plastic enough and lubricate it enough that it actually helps parts slide together. But you got to make sure that you have them ready to go when you do that, because you don't get any chance to pull it apart and try again. So I need 17 and 19 now. 17's here, and 19 is on the other side. And what I'll do, like I said, is I will build these up, get them ready to attach to the body, and then we'll probably just have a paint fest where we are painting the landing gear and the body, the basic dark iron color, and then start joining us the D21. I need a D21 and a D20. Trying to get all the parts out from this stage and then get them all off the sprue at one time. That's the next step. And then F12 and F11, which I believe is... Oh, that's not it. Okay, let's put these together and we'll come right back. We're coming up on the lunch hour, the noon hour, and it's a great place to stop because I've got the deployed landing gear finished. Now you'll have a bunch of parts left over when you are done with this kit, and a lot of these have to do with the landing gear retracted, and some of them have to do with the Atreides version. So, you'll notice the skinnier cockpit here and the skinnier ramp and front wall. These have to, it's their version of, you know, we can save on the toolings by only making one tool and make it, since we have so many parts that are common to both kits, we only have to make the tool once and use it for both kits. That's how we get this canopy. That's how we get the wings. That's how we get the practicalness of, you know, making two of these kits. Whereas, you know, maybe if it could only use it one time, it might not have been practical to even make the kit at all, but because they can spread the costs out over two kits and you have two items on the shelf, it makes it a lot more practical. And here are the big wings. So we're going to let this sit. We're going to walk away for a while and come back to it, do a little bit of sanding, and then we'll start doing some detail painting. Alrighty, I'm having fun with some different colors of the dark iron. Did a dark iron over the whole thing. Went in with a dark iron matte mixed with some flat black. Sprayed that into some of the recesses and the shadows and places where I think a lot of soot and other things would accumulate. And then I've come back, let that dry obviously, and then I came back with a mixture of JN green, or JA green, Japanese Army green, and flat earth. And that brings up a little bit more of the sandy colors. And I'm spraying that over the highlights, or the raised parts, to give me a nice brownish mix over top of the dark iron. Dark iron. And using that on the wings as well. Now, I've yet to do any sort of silver highlights or metallic pass where I might have some bare metal showing. We're going to let this dry and I'm going to come back to that later. Before I put the canopy glass in, though, I want to make sure I've got that painted up to where it matches the rest of the body, and then I'll put the canopy mask or the canopy glass in. I have yet to finish detailing out the cockpit. There'll be some silver highlighting on that and some silver highlighting on the gears as well, the landing gear and the pistons and whatnots. But yeah, it's going pretty quickly as I suspected it would, and going to slow down now and let it rest, and then we'll come back and see what else it needs. Well, good morning, everybody. How you doing? It's Thursday. It is gateway to the weekend. We got a day or so left on the Harkonnen Ornithopter. This morning, I put a flat coat over everything. Really enjoying. I also did the what I call the silver coat. This is a gunmetal dry brushing coat. The next thing to do is to put a wash coat. Now there's going to be a black wash, not really oil dripping, because when you're on the dry world of Arrakis, you don't necessarily have the luxury of a bunch of fluids running around. But we're going to put the sand coat on. That's going to be fun. And then we're going to snap the wings in. That'll be the last thing to do, will be putting the wings in place. But I think what we want to do now is I want to get the sand coat out, flurry wash sand, and we're going to be putting that on in such a way that we're going to put this on, let it dry, and then maybe put one more flat coat over top of that to kind of seal it in. I've got these two decals, and they go on the sides here, but they are in black, and it's already very dark here. So I'm wondering what is the what's the sense of it all. I'm wondering if that's something that really needs to be done. We'll go ahead and try it. I mean, what harm can it do? It's just that at this point, I am concerned that it's just gonna disappear into the background anyway. So we're gonna put a little bit of clear varnish on the area where the decals are going, because I don't want to spray gloss over this whole thing. I'm just going to put a little gloss where the decal goes, and we're going to let that dry, and then we'll once we put the sand and then the flat coat over top of it, that'll seal that all in. But I want to make sure this has a very smooth surface to go on, so we don't get any silvering on the decal itself. We'll let that, I'll do this whole door so in case it needs to have a different finish than the rest, it'll look like it is all one big panel. Like I said, I went through this morning and I did the silver dry brushing coat. I have not put the glass in the canopy yet. That's something I think I can wait on just a little bit longer. I did finish or go another round on the figures, the character figures, to put a gloss black on their still suits. And I'm going to do one more highlight on their skin because they say, the instructions say to make that a basic flesh tone. But now I know the Harkonnen scenes were filmed with a lot of color desaturation, and I think that they were more whitish than they were flesh tone. So we're going to pale them up even a little bit more, just a dry brush over top of that to pale them up. But yeah, maybe you can see in here, you can see how some of the instruments have had the dry brushing put on them of the silver. We're going to let that dry and then put decals down, and then we will do the sand wash, which is going to be fun. Let me see if I get a good sand washing brush. I want something that is both big enough and small enough to get into the creases here. This has been my favorite brush so far of this particular build. Pull some out here, see how that's going to go. Now we can go ahead and start laying it on the landing gear, because we are never going to be putting decals on top of that. And the landing gear is something that's going to have the most sand caked up on it. And we're just hitting. I am hitting in some inside the cockpit, because when those doors are open, when these panels were open, it would make sense that sand would blow in there. So you're not going to, it's coarse and it gets everywhere. So you're not going to get away from the sand that easily. Just ask Anakin. It gets everywhere. Yeah. That also gives it a nice bit of color. As much as I like the military color of this burnt, or dark iron color, these are not ships that would have been, I'm assuming, again, my own private Idaho, I'm assuming that the Harkonnens or the Harkonnens were not keen on ship maintenance. They were, they had slaves for that, I'm sure. But we're just going to put some along the bottom here. We'll let that dry, and then we'll come back to it in a bit. So I've stuck the decals on, and we're letting them dry. I pulled out, there's the decals on, by the way. I pulled out the Atreides Ornithopter, because I knew when I was done you'd want to see them side by side, and you'd want to see the differences. And of course, it's longer, or it's not longer, but it's skinnier. But I was surprised to see that it actually has one more set of wings than this does. For as wide as this is, and as heavy as this is, it actually has one less set of wings. The Atreides one has 4, 2 over 2. And this one has, so it has 8 altogether, obviously, but I mean, it has 4 on each side. This only has 3 on each side, but it's got the one that goes back here, so it's 2 and then 1 back here, but the Atreides is 2 over 2. So interesting that it has even less wingage. That's the last thing to do, is put those on. I am continuing the flurry wash now that I've got the decals in place. We can kind of see how it's looking on the landing gear. I'm going to slop some more up onto the undercarriage, That sounded dirty. I didn't mean to. Slop some more sand wash up under the undercarriage, and then we'll put the wings on, and we'll be ready for a final flat coat, and we'll be done. Not being too picky. Hate to use the word picky, but not being too picky about where the sand is being put on. It's going to be all over the bottom part here. Anything that's even splashed up would get, sand on it. You're going to assume that a lot of it gets knocked off of the top because of the way it's flying. Might put a little bit of it on there, but certainly not as much as the blown up sand. Like when it's coming in for a landing, it's going to make a sand cloud as it's coming in. It's gonna make its own. And I'm just making some, like it should lay in the bottom of those wing wells and on the tops of some things, maybe in some of these creases. Just lace them in there. Let gravity do its thing. Ideally, you would put this in a wind tunnel, but you would put this in some place where you would just dust it, and then let's see where it would land and collect. Again, into the creases. And also, like I said earlier, I think I may have said this earlier, that I didn't believe that the Harkonnens would be as much into vehicle maintenance as the Atreides would. Plus the fact that the Atreides ones would be fairly new, since they weren't on the planet all that long. Which makes you wonder, like, since these have similarities, I mean, they're very similar designs and even down to the same parts. It makes me question, did the Harkonnens and Atreides buy these from, Muad'Dib's used Ornithopter lot? It's kind of like who in the world of Dune, who is the manufacturer of these things? Again, it's probably in a novel somewhere that explains where they came from and who built them. But it makes you, just things I think about. It's like, who makes the TIE fighters in Star Wars? Were they made on a shipyard, or did the Empire own its own facilities, or did they buy from a contractor? That type of thing. So you're thinking, okay, well, if I'm making ornithopters in this universe, I don't care who my clients are. I don't care who is running the spice. I just care that I'm making my quota on ornithopter sales. And if there's a big sandworm attack or a war, well, you might just need to replace your ornithopters. So you come on down to old Uncle Lou's used ornithopter lot and get the this year's model. Again, this is what goes on in my head when I am making a model. Some people would say, Lou, get a hobby. But this is my hobby. Okay, I think we are at a place where we can let the sand dry. Then I need to pop the glass into the canopy, put the guys in the cockpit, and be done. Now I have to decide, do I want to put any? Yes, I should probably put some, if those are going to sit there, and the wings will be cleaned off because they're getting all the motion in the world, so chances are they're going to shake themselves clean. I think if anything on the wings, I need to go and do a silver pass where I would show maybe some of the paint has been flung off. That's how much power these things are mustering, that it actually flings the paint right off of them. Good morning, everybody. It's Friday. Welcome back. It's the last work day of the week, the last work day on the Harkonnen Ornithopter. And I know it may not be a popular statement to make because they were the quote-unquote bad guys, although I would maintain that the true bad guy in the Dune saga, outside of Paul eventually making the turn, is the Emperor, because he's basically pitting these two houses against each other. Anyway, you've read the books, you've seen the movies, you don't need me to discuss it. But the Harkonnens being the mustache twirling bad guys in the movies, I like their ship design better, I have to say. Now I'm putting these side by side so you can see the differences in them. And I honestly thought that these two model kits used the same wing parts, that they've simply repurposed the sprue for the other Ornithopter, because there are so many other similarities. But no, these wings are actually shorter. They're shorter than the Atreides wings. And I will put one up aside just to prove it. If I went tip to tip here, the wing is a good 2 inches longer. And I thought that was strange. I thought that, we all know tooling cost is the most expensive part of any model, and that they would save on tooling costs by simply reusing the wings. Nay, they did not do that. So good on them, I guess, but luckily the cockpit uses the same parts. But this morning I put a flat coat over top of the sand that I put on yesterday, and it did knock it down a little bit, which is good, because I was thinking about this, that I liked the sand that was on it, but by the time I looked at it in scale, it was way too much. You should, if this is 72 scale, and you could see the wee people there, then the amount of sand and mud I had on there was simply too much. It would be much smaller, or much less dense amounts. The other thing I like about this kit, not only do I like the body proportion better, this fatter body, the fact that it's got 6 wings and not 8, I like that a lot better. I also like I know it's the same mechanism, it's the same basic idea as their kit, as the Atreides kit, but these wings they handle better, they pose better, they are stiffer in the joints. They when you put them when you pose them in a particular position, they stay. They're not as limp. I guess maybe because they are shorter, they're not as limp and wobbly as the Atreides version. I like the mechanism for doing the flapping. Those are easier to pose. It's just all around, I think, a better kit. It's better designed. It's better realized, and I think it's just a happier kit to work on. And whereas I would consider the Atreides Ornithopter to be a mosquito, this is more like a bumblebee or a true dragonfly, because of the proportions of the cabin to the wings. But all things considered, if you only have to get one of the, you don't have to do anything. You're free people for the time being. if you only have it in your budget to get one of these kits, I would get the Harkonnen version. I think you'd be happier with the result than the Atreides. Now I noticed that the Harkonnen has a much shorter tail on it. If you put these guys nose to nose, the Harkonnen has stops right here. This has the extra tuning fork tail on the end. I did notice that the undercarriages are the same. The landing gear and ramp section of it, those are the same on both kits. And the cockpits, they're a little bit flared out. If you'll notice the framework on the Atreides version is a little bit more flared out, comes out to more of an angle, but the window glass is the same. So that's kind of the strangeness to it, if you'd like. All of the geometry of the windows works the same, but you can't swap these two canopies. The other things I noticed, now, of course, like I said, the body is wider and fatter here. It's also shorter. I think the Atreides may be a little taller in the body, but it's the same. It is the same undercarriage. There's more nose. I noticed there's more nose in front of the in front of the front landing gear. The landing gear pod is pushed back a little bit on the, and I guess that's because it's got a heavier, wider center of gravity. But that's how well the wings are holding in place. They're just kind of flopping all over. But this holds. I can do all of this and the wings don't fly loose. I like that. I like that idea. I think that design is better that way. And I am looking at this set of wings, and there's, like I said, there's 4 of them on each side. You'll notice how 2 of them have the thin parts on the inside and 2 of them have the thin parts on the outside. All of these have the thin part on the inside. They're all of the same orientation, and I think I'd go back and check to see if I built it wrong, but I don't think I did. I'm pretty sure I followed the instructions as I got them when I was doing the Atreides, but that's part of the floppiness of the wings that I didn't care for. So let's move him back out now that we've made our comparisons, so that we can give our spotlight back to the Harkonnen Ornithopter. And my friends, that is it. I realize, kind of a shortish video this week, kind of skimpy on the content this week, but I hope you enjoyed the build of the Ornithopter from MENG. This is the Harkonnen version. Again, if you only have one to choose from, if you could only do one, do the Harkonnen one. It's actually, I think, a better model than the Atreides kit. So I will tell you that, yeah, I know we were kind of lightish this week, but I was working on the Sprueverse challenge. Almost done with that. Hopefully this one last weekend, and I'll be able to finish it up. Next week, we've got a big project that just came in the mail yesterday. Big project. It's going to be, at least a couple of weeks worth of work, if not more. More details as that becomes apparent next week, so stay tuned for that. And in the meantime, I hope you have a fine week. Y'all be good, be safe, be good to each other, be good to yourself, and we'll be back here real soon.